Well, we're on the road this morning. We're heading out to Stafford Springs, Connecticut. We're going to look for a guy they call John the Jackman. Although it's been there so long, my understanding is now it's the son of John the Jackman who runs it. And we're going to see if he can't help us with this hydraulic cylinder problem. But got to stop at Cumberland Farms first, get a large iced coffee to wake us up this morning, give us some energy. Or Cumberland Farms, or as we in New England call it, Cumbies. And any size coffee, iced coffee, 99 cents. You can't beat that with a stick. I gotta believe that's a good deal because David Hasselhoff told me so. Alright, we're in Stafford Springs, Connecticut. GPS couldn't find this place, but I know it's on this Route 190 here in Stafford, so we'll just go along, see if we can't find it. We're looking for, I guess, a cement cinder block looking building. Supposedly I can't miss it. Well, here's the McDonald's that I put into the GPS. So, should be close now. Oh, look at that cool place. 50s Car Hop Diner. Can't miss it with paint like that, huh? Oh, I just passed it. I was too busy looking at that diner. Alright, let's see. Saw it on the right-hand side here, coming up. There it is. I like that. He's got, there's your advertisement. Big old cylinder with the number. And there we go. John the Jackman. Some nice looking old trucks out there. An old car and an old truck. Cool. Well, left Gary at John the Jackman's about 10 minutes ago, stuck behind this tractor trailer. Now we're on our way to Worcester. We're going to go visit Mechanics Bliss. People have helped me before in getting seals and things like that. I'll show you what Gary set us up with, but he didn't have everything we needed. He could have ordered it for me, but he understands that because it's easier for me to get to Mechanics Bliss, and that I can go there today and get this, you know, high likelihood I can get the stuff today and put everything back together today. So he sold me what he had, and we're gonna go get what else I need from them, and we should be good to go. Boy, I don't know. This guy, he's either got a lot of weight on or he's got mechanical issues, because he's back down to crawling again here, and I'm hearing a lot of grinding when he's shifting. Just my luck. Luckily, we only got about 2 miles before I gotta turn onto the highway, and I'll be able to, even if he gets on the highway, I can pass him. Alright, we're here at Mechanics Bliss in Worcester, Massachusetts. We're gonna get the Chevron seals I need. But before I head in there, let me show you what John the Jackman did for us. He gave me this seal kit right here, which is going to go inside here, and then he said this lip seal was okay, but a little loose, so if I can get a new one of these here today, I will, but if I can't, I'm going to reuse that one. And then the main reason we're here today is because the one thing he didn't have, he did not have these Chevron seals that are in here for the piston. So that's what we're hoping Mechanics Bliss is going to have today. That'll put us back in business. Well guys, things are looking up. We left Mechanics Bliss. They set us up with the Chevron set to fix the piston. The only thing they didn't have was they didn't have the wiper seal there, the lip seal. They had one that was close, but it didn't want to fit right, so they came to the same conclusion as Gary over at John the Jackman, which was that I could probably get away with reusing that one because it's just a wiper. So we're all set there, and we stopped at Harbor Freight, but I forgot my coupons, so I didn't buy out the place. There was a bunch of coupons that I got in the mail that were a good deal. So what we got here is, remember my breaker bar that I broke? Well, it turns out the Pittsburgh tools have a lifetime warranty. So pretty cool. So I mean, yeah, cheap. Some people say not well made. You know, not what a professional would use, but hey, for a weekend warrior like me, 3/4 inch drive breaker bar. And he gave me one of two choices. He could either break open a brand new full set and swap out the bar one for one, which would give me an exact replacement that would fit in the case, or he gave me the choice of taking this one off the rack, which looks very similar, but it's a little longer, and because it's got this spring release here for the ball. And the bad part about that is it's going to be a little longer, so it's not going to want to fit in my case any longer, I don't think. We'll find out when I get back home. But the good thing about it was that I noticed that the boss right here is a little thicker. Right where this snapped on the old one, this looks a little bit stronger. And this also has a different looking pin in there, so this might be stronger. Oh hell, it might be weaker, I don't know. But anyways, that's good. Oh, and I picked up one other thing. The one thing I drove here for mainly, which was the inline desiccant dryer filter for airline. Guess what I need that for? Alright, time's up. The plasma cutter. We want to put an airline dryer in on that line that I'm going to feed to the plasma cutter, because the big thing with the plasma cutters is if you have any moisture in the line, which I tend to have a lot of moisture in my lines, even though I drain my tanks and I have an oil water separator supposedly, but that doesn't really do a good enough job for, you need really dry air for the plasma cutter, because if you have any moisture in the air, the arc just wants to go crazy, and you don't get a good proper cut. So I even read online about one guy, he had a snap-on plasma cutter and thought the thing was a piece of junk because he could never get it to work right. Then he read online about an airline dryer, put an airline dryer in his airline, and the same exact plasma cutter that had been sitting in the corner of the shop for years unused because they thought it stunk started to work like beautiful, cut like butter. So if you guys get a plasma cutter and you're having trouble with it making a cut, make sure your airline, make sure you're having a good dryer. Alright, let's reassemble this cylinder. Here's my pack from Gary at John the Jackman. This is my old setup here for the piston. I'm glad to get rid of this because this is stinking up the inside of my truck to high heaven, because I really overheated this with that torch and it's got a really rancid smell to it now. And my new one, let's see, take this out. My new stuff is in here. It's this. And then this. Alright, first things first. I'm going to reuse this wiper seal, but I noticed that there's a hunk of metal right here from where somebody was using a cold chisel to tighten this, and they deformed this, and this is kind of pushed down and it's impeding in the groove there where that lip seal is supposed to go, so I'm going to grind that off. Alright, so I took care of those areas with the Dremel tool. I didn't want to get too aggressive with it, I just wanted to get the little sharp part that was hanging down below the groove ground off. Alright, I reinstalled the lip seal. Now I got to clean out this bore in preparation for installing the new packings. Okay, so now we got to figure out how this seal pack goes back together. And what you've got is you've got several of pieces of this material that have a V-shaped or chevron configuration to them, alternating with this material, whatever this is, which Gary told me that this is going to be better for my situation because I've got a rod that's not as good as it should be. So anyways, so what we've got is this seal, by design, is designed to oppose pressure from one direction optimally and not the other. So in other words, we want to install this seal so that when it's in there, when maximum pressure is being exerted on the cylinder, that's when we want that seal to be working its best. So if we think about that, we look at the design of the dipper stick, and we know that when this cylinder is retracting, or when the rod is going in, the dipper stick is moving out or away from the machine. So if this were the bucket and my wrist were the dipper stick, basically when you want to dig, you're going to dig in with the bucket, and then the dipper stick's going to do its hardest work when it's moving in this direction back towards the machine, which is also conversely when the piston is moving out, if I'm correct on that. We better double check that. Alright, so how many of you guys realize that I was completely mistaken, because I'm not even working on the dipper stick cylinder, I'm working on the bucket cylinder. The dipper stick cylinder is that big one there that the nut wants to blow out on. So we're dealing with the bucket cylinder. So the bucket cylinder, when the rod is retracting, that's minimal force, because that's when it's basically turning out and releasing, like when you're dumping whatever you just scooped up. The maximum amount of force, maximum pressure is exerted in that cylinder when it's clawing in or digging down in. So the maximum force is exerted on that cylinder as the rod is traveling outward. Right? Right. Meanwhile, back at the tailgate, so if you look at the design of this seal, if pressure were coming from the top where my finger is here and going in that direction, it would easily want to go past this as it was in the bore, but not in this direction. In this direction, as the pressure pushes in on those areas there, that just forces those seals tighter against the walls of the cylinder, or in this case the walls of this cap assembly. So that's how we know which way this goes in. The maximum pressure is as the rod is traveling out in this direction. So we want the cup side facing down, or the top of the V or point facing up. So we know these packs are going to go in this way. So the only question is, we know that they go in this configuration because there is an even number of the plastic ones and an odd number of the other type. In other words, if I tried putting one of these first, then this, then this, then this, then we got two of these against each other, which we know is wrong. So I know that it's this, 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 and this. And I know, again, it's going to go in this way. So the only question is this and this. Well, as luck would have it, we have a clue there also. If I put this in the bottom of the bore, then it's got a cup side that's facing nothing, and a flat side facing the underside of that. This one, however, has a flat side that would be facing the flat inside there, and a supporting ridge for that cup area. So this goes like this, and this whole mess goes in like that. So I'm going to get that in a minute. Then this thick piece has a cupped area there that sits right on top of this. So this is how this all goes together, just like this. Alright, so if you put the pieces in one at a time, they go in fairly easily. Push them down in with your fingers, then this piece goes on top. Then the kit came with this spacer, which would normally sit on top here, But Gary told me that I may not need this spacer. He said when I put it all together I will see, and sure enough, if I put this spacer in, I'm not even going to be able to thread this thing in or get it started. So this spacer can be omitted from my application. So that means that this thing, this ridge right here, is going to push down as I tighten this on the top of this right here. So I don't think I want that. That's a little oily, but I think I want some lube on that so that as I'm turning this, it's got a little bit of give to it. Alright, so I just snugged this up just barely, and now I'm going to install this on the rod before I tighten this. Why? Because as I tighten this ring, it's going to compress those chevron seals, and it's going to cause that diameter, that ID, to tighten down on the rod. Well, if I don't have the rod already in there, then I'm going to have a harder time putting this on. If I put it on first and then tighten it, then it'll compress around that rod.